Hi, I'm Simon Hill, and you're watching Purebred Reds Adelaide United Fan TV.
Hi, I'm Daniel Mullen, former Adelaide United player and Asian Champions League winner with Western Sydney Wanderers. When it comes to any of my soccer needs, I do my shopping here at Soccer Locker. An Australian-owned and operated business, the store is located at Shop 5 of 181 to 183 Grange Road, Findon. Founded in 2017, Soccer Locker was introduced into the market to fulfil all the soccer-related needs of Australians, providing a huge range of quality clothing and equipment ranging from soccer balls, team kits, goalkeeper gear, accessories and much more. Recently arrived stock also includes stunning retro kits from some of our favourite past eras as fans of the world game. Soccer Locker is a specialist in premier range boots, Adidas and Puma, goalkeeper gear and licensed merchandise. Visit us online at www.soccerlocker.com.au with free delivery Australia-wide. So get shopping now at our Findon store, open from 10 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. from Monday to Friday and open Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m.
G'day guys and welcome to the Purebred Reds Adelaide United Fan TV. I'm your host Ellis Gelios, coming to you on the day that we play Macarthur FC at home for the first ever time in our history. And to preview the game, I'm joined by a legend of the game in South Australia, inaugural Adelaide United player, a striker back in his day. Of course, I refer to Michael Brooks, who makes his third appearance on the show. But Brooksy, how are you?
Yeah, going very well. Thanks for having me, Alice. Always pleasure to accept your invitation when you asked me to come on. So looking forward to the chat.
Awesome stuff. Well, we've got so much to get through. I just want to quickly ask you, the A-League season this year, it's been so exciting. What have you made of it, and have you enjoyed watching it in the brief spare time that you've had?
Yes, I have enjoyed it. There's been quite a lot of goals, I think, this year. I don't know if the numbers are up on previous years, but from a spectator's point of view, which I am now, it's good to see goals in games. You know, you don't want to see the drab, boring, 0-0 or 1-1 scoreline. So to see the 3 and 4 goals scored a game, I think it's good for the competition and it's good for the spectators and to promote the brand and get people excited about it. I think it's added this year to see a lot more goals than probably what has been scored in previous years.
And we can only hope that it continues. So getting into our match preview, it's a 7:05 p.m. kickoff tonight at Cooper Stadium. Of course, guys, if you can't get there, make sure you're watching on either Fox Sports or the KO Sports app. And at the current time of filming, we don't have any squads to bring you. Brooksy, getting into our preview, the Adelaide United Western Sydney Wanderers match, a 1-1 draw for Adelaide United at home. Probably one that Carl would be annoyed at, considering that we went down to 10 men, still had a 1-0 lead. Do you think this will cost us at all going forward, this result?
No, not really. There's still plenty of games left. When I say plenty of games, there's still enough games and enough points up for grabs for the previous result not to affect us that much. Look, when you go down to 10 men, even when you're 1-0 up, it's still a difficult battle. Sometimes it is harder to play against 10 than it is 11. But I think at the end of the game, I did see Carl's press conference, and while disappointed probably not to have got the 3 points, I think he was extremely proud of the players for the way that they conducted themselves. And, I don't think they'll be kicking themselves come the end of the season. Yes, you can argue would that extra 2 points have maybe got them another position on the table. But to be honest, like I said, there's plenty of points up for grabs. And if they're good enough, they'll finish in the top 2, which is obviously where they, their objective and where they want to be.
Yeah, it's much of a muchness, as you say. Your old teammate, though, Carl Veart, we spoke about him when he was first appointed with you. Since then, we've seen a great deal of progress. What do you make of where the team is currently at and his managerial start as a senior manager professionally? What have you made of it all?
Well, look, it's hard to argue against him at the moment. With a game or 2 in hand, I think on some of the other top 5, top 6 contenders, albeit if we can get the maximum points from those couple of games in hand, one being tonight against Macarthur, it's going to set the team up in a good position to have a real serious challenge at the title. And I think if anyone had said that before the start of the season, you probably would have, you would have bitten their hand off and taken that. So I think Carl's done extremely well. The team, the team this year actually reminds me a little bit of the inaugural team. There's a lot of local players. There seems to be a good feeling and a good bond amongst the playing squad. And I was only thinking about it yesterday, with the likes of Carl, Ross, and Eugene. All three of them are different types of personalities. You've got Ross, who's the aggressor, if you like. Carl was always very quietly spoken, and then Eugene's probably got that aura about him, having won 6 or 7 club champion awards. So there's a real good mixture in the coaching staff, and I think within the playing group there seems to be a real united about them. And in the first year we were the people's team, and you just sort of sense that with Bruce working behind the scenes, that the club is almost getting back to that sort of core root of the people's team, and it's great to see. And you can see the performances that they're putting on the park are reflective of that mindset that they've got amongst themselves.
And it's important that you feel that way, that sincerity about, connecting back to the roots of the people, because you are now, you consider yourself a fan just like everyone else now. You look at it just purely through the lens of a fan. So it's important that we have that genuine feeling coming across there that you've just articulated. I want to ask you, Juric or Yengi when they're fit? You were a former striker of this club. It's becoming a bit of a conundrum. Juric scored last week against the Wanderers. We know how good Yengi was prior to that, and then obviously Yengi got injured. But considering both are now fit, I believe, who do you go with, Brooksy?
It's a tough question. I would probably answer it in this way. I think, by all reports, Tomi Juric is probably not 100% match condition and match fit, and by all reports is battling his way through games with a calf injury. Young Yengi he's just raw, and when you see players like that who have just a freedom to be able to express themselves, and obviously is being given that by the coaching staff, and then still having to play his role in the team structure, it's exciting. Probably the one thing that I'd like to see from him is just a little bit more aggression towards centre halves. I'd like to see him put 1 or 2 on the backside, but he's athletic, he's raw, he's powerfully built, he's got good speed, he's good in the air, he looks like he's good on both sides of his feet. If I was a selector, I'd probably be pushing for Yengi to start, to be honest, and give him a good 60, 70 minutes, and then if things aren't going his way or going the team's way, if Tomi Juric has only got sort of that 45 minutes in him, probably at best at the moment, given his physical state, bring him on for the last 20, 25 minutes and let him have a go. But it'll be interesting to see how the coaching staff decide to go tonight, because like I said, I think Yengi is a real exciting prospect, and before he had that week off, what was it, 2 and 3 games or 3 and 3 games? So
yeah, I think something around there. Yeah, he definitely played like 5 or so games back to back. Yeah.
Yeah, but he looks lively, and he brings that enthusiasm to the front line. So yeah, I think that's the way I'd be going.
We'll move forward, Brooksy. Macarthur Bulls, new team in the league this year. Certainly a couple of interesting dynamics about them. What have you made of them as a team so far?
Well, look, I actually played for Macarthur Rams back in the late 90s when I had a stint with Wollongong Wolves in the NSL, and then went to Macarthur for a little bit. They're a proud club. What have I made of them? Look, they look like a typical team that have got some big names in it that have been thrust together, and excuse me, and they're just going to take their time to gel. And you can have a squad of 16, 20 really top line players, but it's just that meshing together that's going to take time. And while Bozza is probably a bit bullish on them finishing in the top 2 or 3, because they've got some big name players, I'm probably a little bit the other way. I think if in their first year, and I wouldn't be surprised if Ante Miletic is thinking this way, that if in their first year they could perhaps finish, in the final series, I think that would be considered a relatively good season by them. And then if they build on that for next year, together with a little bit more cohesion and getting to know each other and the way they play, I think they'll be even better next year. But, you've got the likes of Federici in goal and Milligan and, these types of players. Derbyshire up front, he looks quite lively. He's one that will put, will try and put, Jordan Elsey on his backside. So that's, what I'm talking about. So, look, they've been impressive. I don't think they're going to go on and win it, but as we've seen in the A-League this year, you can watch a game and you're really not sure who's going to take the 3 points or not. So I wouldn't count them out from winning it. I just think that if they make the finals, that'll be a pretty good season by their standard.
Just speaking about their coach, Ante Miletic, you played against him across numerous seasons in the old NSL. He's done plenty as a manager in his young managerial career as well. Do you see a lot of upside to him as a coach?
Yeah, look, I mean, Ante's been in that Football Federation Australia,
System.
coaching philosophy bubble system. And, for me, I don't know, I like to see a little bit more expression of freedom and not so robotic. And a lot of the time with some of these system coaches, you tend to see more robotic passages of play rather than, for an Ed Zelich quote, an individual brilliance. And I think that's where, with Adelaide United and with Carl, that they've been able to install that while still playing in the team guidelines. But when you've got the ability to be able to do that, bang, you do it and you go for it. And so in terms of Ante, look, because he is a young coach, he's still learning and finding his way as well. So I think as time progresses, he will develop his coaching philosophies and his strategies and move forward in the direction that he sees fit. But it's important for him to obviously play the way that he strongly believes, because he's the one that's got to impress that onto his players. And then if he's impressing that onto his players, the players will believe in what he's trying to teach them, and then they'll get better results. But you can't, again, as similar with Carl, coming in his first year into the A-League, you can't say that he's done a bad job. But
well said, Brooksy. We'll move on and talk about Cassio and Bernardo. Now, Cassio's son, Bernardo, has just signed to the team. It's the second father-son scenario that we've had after Dominic Costanzo and Angelo Costanzo, one of your ex-teammates. I want to ask you quickly, how good is this, just considering, like we talked about before, getting back to our roots and having these kinds of romantic storylines to discuss within the club. It's a wonderful thing. And Cassio's young son, who's very, very promising player, has been at Melbourne City for the best part of the last 2 years, now at Adelaide United. And it's another one that we've signed up and put away. And hopefully they can, if they can have half the career their father did, we'll be in for some more exciting times in the future.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, that goes without saying. I just hope, and the cynicism in me would like to say that I hope that he's just not signed on the surname, that he's actually signed on the football ability. So that's to be seen. To be fair to the young man. So if he's been signed, we've got to welcome him to the club. Got to get around him and embrace him. But at the end of the day, his football ability, what he does when he crosses that white line, is going to determine whether or not he's going to be good enough to put a red shirt on. And that's all the fans, I think, can ask for. And if he shows that he is good enough to put on the red shirt, well, then, there might be another cult hero, following in seasons to come.
I just knew you were going to play that one with a straight bat, Brooksy.
Well, to be honest, I mean, that's how I see it. A lot of the time, fans and people can get wrapped up in the emotion of, it's Cassio's son, and that automatically transfers to a wicked left peg. Well, the reality is that this young man is trying to forge his own career. Yes, he's got his father's surname, but first and foremost, he's got to have the ability and the desire to play at this level. And then his performances will dictate whether or not he stays in the system or whether, he doesn't. And then he goes back to, the NPL stages, if that's where his ability is. But so it's not playing a straight bat. It's just answering it as honestly as I see it. And that is how I see it.
Fair enough. I just want to ask for your prediction here, Brooksy. Who wins tonight?
I think that I think there'll be chances at both ends. The way both teams play, I'd be very surprised if there wasn't a few goals in the game. So having said that, I think Adelaide United will win 2-1.
And who gets on the score sheet?
Yes, well, that was going to be my next one. I think I don't think you can go past a young fella up front for us to score again. I just feel like he's just bubbling along, and I think he'll score. And the player who's probably, for me, showed a lot more to his game than what I actually thought he had, and he's leading the team beautifully, is Stefan Mork. He's actually added another dimension to the team as a goal-scoring midfielder. Before, he was probably just that number 6 who just, linked the play between defence and forward. Now he's actually like a number 8, but getting into the box to finish like a number 9. And his play this year has been a real feature of his play, the team's play, and his leadership. I think he's been absolutely superb this year, Stefan Mork. And let's hope for the Reds supporters' sake tonight that he can maybe get on the score sheet again. But I'm predicting a 2-1 for the Reds.
He's almost compensating for the loss of Riley McGree, isn't he, in that position?
Yeah, he's definitely he definitely has more than compensated. I think he's actually surpassed what Riley was actually doing before Riley left, and that's no mean feat, because I thought Riley played particularly well for the Reds, but I think Stefan Mork is showing us another level. I'll be very surprised if he's not on the verge of a Socceroo call-up when the Socceroos next play, because I think his season so far has warranted definitely a mention or a call within the Socceroo squad. But if that doesn't come, well, let's just hope he keeps performing for the Reds, because he's having a very stellar season.
Great stuff, Brooksy. Before we go, I just want to ask you about the NPL being back here in South Australia. You terrified defenders and goalkeepers for a very long time, late into your career in the local leagues here in South Australia, hence why you are a Hall of Famer in the Football South Australia ranks here. I want to ask you how good it is to have it back, and who you see potentially winning it this year. Could it be your old mob, Adelaide City? They're looking good under Paul Pezos.
Yeah, look, I think there's probably a number of clubs. I mean, you talk of Adelaide City, and they're obviously got off to a good start, beating Campbelltown. Comets seem to have a reasonably strong squad, but I just think for the overall balance and the depth in their squad, I think it'd be hard to go past Campbelltown again. They just, the previous sort of 4 years or 5 years has just put them in really good stead. Their age mature, their football nous is now matured. They've got a lot of players around the same age, which are still young enough to go on and win it. The thing I suppose there is, with Fifey now as a young coach, have they still got the hunger and desire to back it up? And that's, I think they've won 3 in a row, if I'm not mistaken. So,
you are right.
Yes. They could actually go on and win 4 or 5 in a row if the hunger and desire is there, and probably etch themselves in, in Football South Australia Hall of Fame for years to come. For a lot of years, Campbelltown were probably the most overrated, underachieved club in the NPL. And that's no disrespect to Campbelltown. I've got a lot of good friends there, but now they're actually fulfilled their potential, and now they're a powerhouse within the NPL. And it wouldn't surprise me if Campbelltown go on and win it again and make it 4 in a row.
Michael Brooks, former Adelaide United player, inaugural player, now a regular contributor on Purebred Reds. We love how articulate you are, and we love your special comments here. We wish you all the very best in your stint up there. Is it Roxby?
Yeah, I work away now, so yeah, I'm up here for a week, and then I'm back home. So,
well, I look forward to you coming back home and getting around the Reds. Stay safe and keep well, mates. And thanks so much for coming on. And we'll speak to you again very soon.
Good on you, Elias. Up the Reds. Hope you get the win tonight.
Great stuff. Thanks, Brooksy, and thanks for watching, guys.